Behike pretendian KGB agent. I've been watching you. You've been getting very bold with your anti-blackness in an attempt to pass yourself off as a Dominican with native ancestry. You are not Dominican. I noticed your Spanish was very janky the first time I saw you live trying to speak with real Dominicans. You don't sound Dominican and you're not a Taino. You're a pretendian. I don't think you know that your information is floating around on TikTok. I grabbed a few screenshots. You're not Dominican. I know you're from the US and you were adopted. I'd chill out with this cosplaying that you're doing. I'll be watching.
Of the things culture that when I come to the United States,
it didn't come from Africa because we didn't even know
hold
who
on.
you
Can I
were.
answer your question?
We did, no, let me finish.
Oh.
We did not know who any Europeans were. We did not know who Africans were. We had zero contact. We didn't trade with you because I've heard that come up. We didn't trade with Africa. Africans did not come over here prior to that. We had our own culture, our own languages. Everything that we had came from us, no one else. There were no outside influences. And the fact that you people continue to go on with this rhetoric is disgusting. It's indigenous erasure, and we are not going to tolerate it any longer.
Okay, can I log out? Okay, thank you. Maybe I don't need to say anything because you didn't give me that platform to say.
You don't need to say anything.
You asked me a question and you say I want to say something and you keep going on and on and on. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm on the wrong channel.
See you later, Felicia.
You definitely are on the wrong channel.
Yeah, because this is America.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is America.
How do I log out?
Major, is that your man?
Huh? No way. I don't even know him. He's from Africa. I just met him today.
Native and African relations. You should get his number.
No.
Sorry about that, guys. But I was listening to lives earlier, right? And there were Nigerians, and he's probably one of them, that have been telling African Americans and other people that everything native came from Africa, and putting up false. And he was even saying African haplogroups were A, B, C, and D, which we know that's us, right? So I'm just like, from now on, I'm just cutting these people off because they're spreading all this false history.
You know the Nigerians are known for doing that kind of stuff, scamming people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're well known for that.
Yeah.
Sorry, not in our space.
I'm glad you confronted him.
They are ethno-purists, and they belong to a group of tribal people in Cameroon, Congo, Nigeria. There's few tribes there that believe that only certain African tribes are actually African. They contend that the San people, who are the Bushmen of South Africa, that the San people are not African because they are lighter complexion than the West African, the West Sub-Saharan African. And they are saying that all the other nations of Africa, including all of North Africa, Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, even Ethiopia and Somalia, Sudan even, that all of those are foreigners, and that these West African ethnocenters need to take over and conquer them. This is their belief. I have an entire live that I have recorded and downloaded about their Pan-Africanism that is Nilotic. They're Bantu, That's I guess their macro tribe identity, and they believe that the Bantus need to conquer all of Africa to get rid of impure ethnicities. So they're African Nilotic supremacists.
Well, and the problem is this too, right? So those who maybe either go under the category of Latino or, Native, who have African ancestry, when these people come in here, and tell all of this falsehood, it makes it difficult for them, right? They already have a difficult time. So now they're making it even more difficult for them. Like, can you tell I'm so sick of these people? I am over them.
You and I both. I'm just over them. Truly over them. They want to distort history. They want to distort culture, everything.
But the thing that really worries me, Kali X, is that someone who actually has Native ancestry in the Americas comes around with DEI initiative ideas and starts imposing them on entire populations of indigenous people. This person, Notorious BGP, is one of those colonizing traitors, unfortunately. And she and her Marxist friends, I'm not saying this to chagrin them, but they are sworn communist. Also, I'm not saying that to be communist is necessarily a bad thing, but their ideology comes from fascist communism. And they say that they want to create an entirely new people. I was in the live, I screen recorded it. They say that the Caribbean natives need to become a new people with African immigrants. Okay, and they're saying that if we want to preserve our indigenous heritage and our population's culture, then that is racist and eugenicist. Yes, Hairuna lady, that's exactly what she said. She said, you all need to become a new people. And saying that, so what if the culture becomes different? So what if the people become different? That's just how it is, and that's just natural and human. They're traitors, they're liars, they're colonizers. And she got so upset with me, saying, I'm not a colonizer, stop calling me a colonizer, I'm indigenous. But I said, well, there's plenty of people that are in the US Army who went to Iraq to destroy entire indigenous populations over there. She went to Afghanistan, did the same thing. In Africa, doing the same thing. In Cambodia, in Vietnam, okay? It doesn't matter how indigenous you are to the Americas. If you're going around colonizing other people's lands, you're a colonizer, okay? Get with it. And she was like, well, traitor, I'm still a native. Even if I'm going colonizing to other people's lands, I'm still a native. He said, well, to be a traitor is even worse. I said, well, how about that? Colonizing traitor. So unfortunately, that's what Notorious BGP is. She is a terraformist. She believes in changing the identity and culture and genotype and everything. She wants to reshape the entire native space of Central and South America and the Caribbean, so that we become one homogenous entity, backyard of the United States, that she can wave her, I belong to American tribe kind of thing. So the only native tribes that are supposed to survive, according to these neo-fascist communist Americans with the DEI initiative, is the federally recognized tribes in the United States. Everybody else, according to them, needs to be erased. That's what BGP is. And she is a US military veteran, by the way. So, she's missing some decontamination, de-indoctrination work.
Is she saying that people need to mix with more indigenous people?
No.
With the bloodline?
No, she said they need to mix with non-indigenous people.
That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And she said that the native land belongs to the non-indigenous as well as to the indigenous people. She said it belongs to everybody. It's full of shit.
Ellos quieren borrar como todo lo que es indígena en este lado del mundo.
Oh, so BGP is in here. Oh, she unblocked me so she could join. Notorious, I got your declaration of war all on tape. I have it recorded, okay? I've got it recorded. And all that agenda is going to be flushed down the drain, okay? So, find some other sponsors. Oh yeah, you got the whole recording. Good. I'm glad that you recorded me. Publish it, because I will publish mine. Listen to her. I have to actually approve her comment. She says, you push eugenics and close borders. Yeah, we want to close our borders to you. Don't come over here. Don't come to our lands here, Notorious. Like I said to this Black American, what you need to do is you need to head to places like Wyoming, Wisconsin, Oregon, where you have those German majority populations. You need to mix them. Give them some color, Notorious, okay? Give them some color. Those German people are inbreeding over there and they need your help. Okay, but don't try to bring your DEI shit and think that you're gonna get away with it as indigenous culture, because it's not.
And sometimes you have to protect your people. What's wrong with borders when you have to protect your people and your land?
Yeah, exactly. They hate DR but can't stop going there. They're hypocrites. That's what they are. And she's lying that it's about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity means that everybody gets to express their culture in the way that we want it. If we say we don't want to be mixing with Africans, listen, Notorious, you know what? What you need to do, Notorious, and you need to go to the US Congress and lobby to bring 400 million Chinese to the United States. 400 million Chinese, all right? Or you can do 200 million Chinese and 200 million East Asians, Indians, okay? The Hindus. Do that, okay? But, maybe you just like to have Chinese. So just do the 400 million Chinese, all right? And then we'll see how things work out for you over there, okay? But
So
don't
I will
be
say
telling us to
this.
bring 12 million Africans into our country. What's
I
that,
will
Cal?
say this. I don't really believe in borders, right? That's a European construct. That was never our indigenous people. We moved around, we traded, and so having borders just kind of amplifies what, they've already started.
Well, borders between indigenous people. We should not have borders for indigenous people. There should be visa-free travel in the Americas for all people of native blood. But those who are not of native blood, passport them to the wazoo. We do not want them here, okay? They need to go back to their lands, okay? The Congolese have one of the most rich countries in the world. They need to be given back their land, all right? We don't need to be overrun by Africans or Chinese or East Indians or Russians or Europeans or nobody. Okay? So when it comes to people who are not native to the land, they do need to have a passport. Clinton, you can't speak Russian, so you're not going to hear it. You don't speak Russian. All right? Xenophobia. Now you're gonna, Notorious, you know what? You have a way of using logical fallacies. Logical fallacies. Look that up. Logical fallacies. It's a way of tricking your audience and your opponent into a losing game. But I know what logical fallacies are. You like the straw man fallacy, which is introducing false ideas. For example, when I was talking to you about the importance of keeping a high native blood quantum by marrying within our own native communities, our Arawakan communities, you said that that's racism. That's not racism. That's cultural preservation. And we have the right to do that. Okay? Our native people are that way. Yes, we are mixed, but we also seek to maintain our Arawakan identity. If you go to Africa, Notorious BGP, as I was just talking about, the ethnocentric cultures of sub-Saharan West Africa. Your little DEI initiative stuff is not going to fly there. It doesn't matter if you want to swear that you're only going to, you know, suck black D for the rest of your life. No one cares about that shit, okay? No one cares. Nobody cares. They just want to marry their own Bantu people, their own Nilotic people. They consider Sudanese, Ethiopians, even the San people who have one of the most ancient DNA in Africa, they consider them impure because they're lighter skinned. Now, I happen to understand that some of this culture, this ethnocentric colorism, surged in the post-independence era. Okay, and so that I'm not saying that kind of behavior has to be you know, native to those indigenous tribes there, but historically, the Congolese, the Nigerians, the Cameroonians, the Senegalese, those belong to tribes that are highly ethnocentric. They do not like to mix with other ethnicities. They like to they maintain their ethnic, population. And they have done so for the longest time. So for you to call them racist for that is extremely non-diverse, non-equity, non-inclusive. All right? The Vietnamese, the Japanese, I mean, even in Vietnam, you know, places, Indonesia, Russia, China, have many ethnic identities that have maintained ethnic identities because they marry their own people. So you telling them that all of a sudden they're supposed to be one, color because everyone's supposed to mix with everybody else. That is fascism. Notorious BGP, you are a fascist. Okay, that's what you are. And you're trying to market yourself as you are a human rights advocate. You're not a human rights advocate. You are a fascist. Okay? And you need to deprogram. You need to, what do you call those things? Indoctrination. You need to get an indoctrination cleansing. That's what you need to do. Okay? Why if you want to call yourself native to the Americas, Notorious BGP, why are you sticking your nose where it doesn't belong? You are not an elder in any tribe. So why are you here telling us that we're supposed to follow your DEI freaking rules?
Why every time we get called racist because we just want our indigenous DNA and continue to marry within indigenous people from our land? Why are we being called racist for that? Because we want to preserve that. It has nothing to do with
King Cash the Coward, come up. Come up. Come up. Clinton, this effort started off with there are things that are happening that are hard. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Clinton says, Sanchez, the whole Caribbean is me, not just one part. Also, where do these people, are you sure you're using the right keyboard, Clinton? Because, you know, you seem to be all over the place. It sounds like word salad.
No, he sounds self entitled. Like he could tell us how we should behave, how we should act, sir, you're not part of DR.
You know what? The Puerto Ricans, the Boricuas, the ones who have decided to follow some kind of extremist sect, because that's what it is. Their sect. They are a new age religious sect. And they're claiming to be Taino tribes, and they're not. They're fake tribes. And they go around telling everybody that they are the most pure Taino, that they have the largest Taino because 60% of the population is Taino. But they're using a logical fallacy. Okay, because 60% of the Puerto Rican population is still very small. It's less than yes, less than 2 million people. So maybe 1.8 million people or so in Puerto Rico. But the percentage of the Dominican population that is of Taino descent is far greater than that of Puerto Rico. Look at Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is like what? 1/4, 1/5 of the Dominican Republic of the island of Quisqueya. You're a tiny, tiny island, and you're walking around like you're Cuba or something. You are a small island. You are a satellite of Quisqueya. Borinquen is a satellite of the main Taino island, which is Quisqueya. Even Cuba, in pre-Columbian times, had fewer Taino. The Taino people were one of several native peoples in the island of Cuba. We were not all of the native people in Cuba. But in the island of Quisqueya, we were all of the native people in Quisqueya, except for the small portion of Siboney to the north. There were like a separate people, but still within the Cacicasco, within the Taino Cacicascos, okay? So the Quisqueyan Taino people in the Dominican Republic, we are the largest Taino population in the world, okay? Get that straight.
And the thing is that, okay, like they could have opinions in their own land, not ours. That's what I'm talking about. It's just frustrating that they want to, have a say in our lands and our people. And they need to concentrate on Puerto Rico and just stop butting in, our business.
Jules, you say Puerto Ricans have higher Taino blood? Yeah, like less than 2 million people have higher Taino blood. No, I don't think so. I think maybe more like 500,000 people have higher Taino blood than Dominican people. And then, then some Dominican people, let's say the majority of the Tainos of Dominican Republic, will have less Taino blood than about 500 Puerto Rican people. Big deal. Big deal. We have at least 500,000 people or 1 million people that have the same amount of Taino blood, Jules. Okay, we have 1 million. If you have 500,000, we have 1 million at least. And guess what? Just because you are 30% does not make you any more Taino than someone who is 15%. That's what you don't understand. And see, this is the reason why you would align with someone like Notorious BGP, because you are a US colony and you are working by US colonial rules and you are trying to get US colonial federal recognition by saying that you are more Taino than us. But you're not. You're not. You're actually mixed with Carib people. Even in pre-colonial times, your women were the children and the wives of the Kalinago people. That's why even between the Quisqueyan Taino and the Puerto Rican Boricua Taino, we don't have the same culture even. We're not the same. You're spicy bitches. Okay? Everybody knows that. And there's a reason for that. It's because you come from the Kalinago. The Kalinago had a situation where the men spoke one language and the women spoke another. And the reason why you are spicy is because you're always fighting them. And then so the women would escape and go back to Borinquen. And so that, your island was always having problems with the Kalinago. And then
They
you
were
want to come
beef.
They have the Boricua is like 1/5 of the island of Quisqueya, and they want to say that they have how many cacicascos you have over there? 20,000 cacicascos. If I look in the archaeological record, one cacicasco had 70 villages. You can go up and down Puerto Rico in 1 hour. At about 70 miles an hour, you go up and down Puerto Rico in 1 hour.
Diana said 18. 18 they claim.
18. 18. You didn't have no 18 casicas, maybe 18 villages. 18 villages, and you were probably under the casicasco of Higüey. That was probably your casicasco
Spaniard
of
and you
Higüey.
is showing. Who is he saying the Spaniard and you is showing? Clinching. We are all mixed.
Clinton, he doesn't. He thinks he went to visit countries, but in actuality, he just watched National Geographic. He's telling everybody that he's been everywhere, or he's a passport bro, and he thinks that getting holes in different countries at Airbnbs qualifies for cultural enrichment.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah, I know. Jules, listen, I am pro Arawak. Taino is actually something that came from academics. Taino means relative. The Chinese people are my Taino, Vietnamese people my Taino, German people Taino, Australian Aborigines Taino. Everyone's a relative, right? Even the fish and the lizards and the apes and the birds. Everyone's Taino. Everybody, literally everybody. Even the moon is Taino. The sun is Taino. Everything's Taino. The atoms are Taino. But you know what? Quisqueyan Arawak is only one thing. Only one thing, Jules. Only one thing. And you are not the majority. U.S. territory of Puerto Rico is not the majority of Taino people. Sorry. And the fake tribes that have been cooking up all this new age religious shit is not going to get federal recognition. All right? Get that straight. Yeah, sure, Clinton. Keep it up and I'm going to block you.
He just needs to respect the lands of other people's lands. I don't have an opinion about Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico could do whatever they want in their land.
Exactly. No, see, the thing is, they have ellos tienen un complot. Ellos tienen complot de ayudar a los Estados Unidos a borrar la etnia dominicana y a los indígenas dominicanos de Quisqueyana para poder agarrar unos beneficios como una tribu indígena ante Bureau of Indian Affairs, okay? That's what it is. Jules, I've seen it. I've seen it. You have all these people, and they've been chasing me for years on social media, doxing me and doing all kind of shit, stalking me, my house, doing all, getting involved in my private, personal, intimate relationships, and getting, using honey traps to seduce my fiance. Okay. That's how dirty you people are. But you know what? You've lost. You've lost big time. All right? You play dirty, you get dirty. And then you get flushed. That's what happens.
Jules, I think she's talking about those. Yeah, like she said that there's organization going to the DR lands. That's what she's saying. That's what's bothering.
I actually had to go to Puerto Rico. I actually went around the whole Puerto Rico, and I was living in Vieques too. Yeah, I did post my proof. Everybody knows it. I posted it, and that's why they got upset. Because I showed not only are they having fake tribes, but their beautiful Machu Picchu of the Caribbean, supposedly at Caguana, is full of plastic, concrete, and replicas, okay? And you've been lying to tourists, lying to the world. And even I was shocked because I was like, you know what? Let me go down there. I wasn't going down there to disprove that Caguana was not real or none of that. I just wanted to go down there actually to see how real was this. I was like, I've never seen any kind of archaeological site in the Dominican Republic that looks like that. And if anybody should have a site like that, it's definitely in Dominican Republic. You know, we have caves. You also have caves over there with the petroglyphs from the pre-Columbian times as well as the Columbian times when our native people were also in the caves, hiding in the caves. Okay, but this Caguana thing was a ball court, a Batu ball court in a Taino village that looked like it came from Walmart. I was like, gee whiz, how in the world did they preserve this thing so well? You know, and I was like, you know, I'm not going to have any judgment of this. I'm gonna go down there, be respectful, of course. I always am. I love, you know, indigenous artifacts from all over the world. In 2013, I was able to witness the historic visit of the Cedar Cylinder, which is a 2,500-year-old, the first declaration of human rights in the world, come to Washington, D.C., and I was leading tours. I had been working on getting people aware of this artifact for 7 years prior, okay? I was going to universities, talking to professors. I was really trying to get this happen, and it happened for the first time in history in Washington, D.C., okay? And then I was leading tours around the Cedar Cylinder, okay? So I'm extremely respectful of archaeological artifacts. All right. So when I went to Caguana, I was like, wait a minute, because you know, when you've been around like certain ancient things, you kind of get a smell for fake shit. All right. So I was smelling the fake shit just from the pictures, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna see what it is. And I didn't go over there by myself. I was taken there by indigenous Puerto Ricans